Well, guys, I don't know what's going on this morning. And of course, there's nobody I can reach out to get help from in the moment to find out why in the world I don't see myself. Can you guys, I see you out there, guys. Can you tell me, do you see me? Because all I see is a black even screen, which is disconcerting, but that's okay. If you guys can see me, I'll carry on. If you don't see me, but only hear me, let me know that. So I see Londa and Kathy and Amy, and I see a bunch of love signs, hearts, and everything coming up. So does that mean you guys see me? Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I should have known this morning when my computer went through an update just as I was getting on air that you can see me. That is too funny. Well, okay. I'm glad you can see me, and I will carry on then. So I love Mercury retrograde. So welcome to the MetaCafe. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea, sit back and relax, and let's chat about what is coming up for us today, Friday. Happy Friday to everybody. And then we'll also take a look at Saturday and Sunday. Well, hopefully there isn't much I need to show you because I won't have any way of knowing whether or not it's centered in the camera. So I guess for the moment, we just go with the flow. And I see Laura. Good morning, Marissa. Good morning, Mary tapping Masco. And Amy, yes, she says she sees me. Thank you. I'm so glad. Colleen, good morning to you as well. Well, as I was taking a look ahead this morning at what to expect for the weekend, it looks like it might be a pretty decent weekend, albeit with some emotional bumps and thuds perhaps along the way. And that's owing to the fact that this morning, in about 10, 11 minutes, the moon will move out of the sign of Gemini and into the sign of Cancer, where for most of the weekend, we will be in the mood kind of quadrant of the zodiac, and we will also be in the family, home, and traditional aspects of our energies. So the moon in Cancer will then begin to oppose the planets that are sitting in Capricorn. So that is the South Node and Saturn and Pluto. And we know that that's been a busy place in our charts for the last year, getting busier as we move on through November and into December and into 2020. And so anytime the moon transits through the sign of Aries or through the sign of Cancer or through the sign of Libra, or even in the sign itself of Capricorn, we are sending energy around the chart for the deconstruction and reconstruction of what is going on in our world. Now, yesterday, several of you shared with me some of your ideals. Yesterday, we were talking about my ideal world or my ideal life. And some of you shared that with me, and I love that because it allows me then to sign up on your ideal train. Well, today we're going to be taking a look at what the emotional component of that is and how emotions play a role in our developing and creating of our reality. So let's start first by talking a bit about what does it mean when the moon is in Cancer. First of all, it focuses us in on the energies of intimacy, of compassion, of soul sisters, soul connections, soul bodies, and brings us into that nurturing energy, sort of the mothering energy. It is the connection that we find through our families and the intimacy within a family, the sharing and the caring and the nurturing, mothering, etc. Of course, the moon in Cancer is also emotional, right? It's emotional energy and specifically moodiness. It really encapsulates everything that there is to know about the moon in terms of how the moon moves through space and creates different moods and different connections as it goes along. And the thing we know about moods is that they are often very short-lived, and you can have many of them going on throughout the day. People who have a Cancer sun or the moon in Cancer or rising signs in Cancer know very well how this moodiness works. Not always good for them, but a definite understanding that moods are always in flux and change. While the moon is in Cancer, we're also more sensitive to one another and how we're feeling and, excuse me, interacting with one another on a very deep, emotional, compassionate, and heartfelt level. And we are understanding, we're seeking understanding through our emotions, which brings me to one of the lessons that we're all learning about ourselves and about the collective of humanity right now as it relates to emotion. And that is that we are emotionally unintelligent at this point. We are just babies when it comes to learning about how we use emotion and what the purpose of our emotions are. And instead, what we find ourselves always is sort of in reaction to the emotional field. Somebody says something or does something, or you hear something in your outer world, and it triggers you in some way, and you react with your emotions, sort of that heart on your sleeve kind of energy, where over time, what will happen here as we gain more and more emotional intelligence is that we will use our emotional energy as a way to know what's going on within us, as a sort of tell, if you will, or a compass that really directs you to the right feelings. It tells you, by the way, when your thought processes are out of alignment with what's correct for you, where you've gotten too much in the mind and not enough into the heart, and gives us the opportunity in the space before reaction, in that breathing space, right? That breathing space, it allows for us to choose the emotion, choose from the emotion. So what would your emotion tell you? For example, if somebody's triggered you and maybe you're on the road, this is always a great thing for me, because if I get on the road, especially because I live on an island, it's fairly quiet out here, there's not much traffic, but you get me into a city, and even sometimes the cities around here, Mount Vernon and Burlington, when they're busy, I get into that town and I'm like, oh my God, there's too much traffic. And I start to get all anxious, and I start to want to, I start yelling in the car. You start getting triggered by all of the people on the road, and you can't get where you want to go. And it creates an emotional reaction. Well, what that tells you then is where you are out of sorts, where you are out of alignment with your true self. And so emotional energy, on one hand here, really tells us when we've strayed off course, right? I don't have to feed into the emotional energy of being stuck in traffic, or, being slowed down by a number of people on the road, or, people who are out there making dumb moves behind the wheel. I don't have to be triggered by that. I do get triggered sometimes by those kinds of things, but that's the point of learning about your emotions, is that they're triggers, and they tell you something about what's going on within you. So as we become more emotionally intelligent, we'll begin to understand that more, and then be able to use our emotions as gateways to changing our world, our lives, and where we're going, and how we're engaging in our lives. So when the moon is in Cancer, it really triggers us emotionally in some way. And you know what? There are emotional triggers that are also good ones, right? Joy and bliss and happiness and giddiness, all of those kinds of emotions that on the higher frequency level, let's say, are also telling us something. Likely they're telling you, I want more of that, right? That's the right direction. Your heart and your soul are in alignment because you're feeling those energies. And on the other end of the spectrum, when there's boredom or anger or upset or depression, even not clinical depression, but the feeling of depression, that you're out of alignment with your soul. Or there's a possibility, if you check in with your own self, if you check in with the emotions and say, what is this emotion showing me? Is that maybe I'm forcing myself to be out in the world doing things when I need to be in the quiet, right? Because maybe I'm incubating something. So our emotions are great indicators of where you're out of alignment with yourself, or when you're not in alignment with the correct things for you to be doing at the moment. And there's something else about emotional energy, and we see this when we talk about the human design aspect of the solar plexus, right? Is that Emotional energy is about your true feelings, about what really makes you happy. I'm often in the position of telling people who are emotionally defined to find out, by asking questions. Is this correct for me? Does this make me happy? Is this the right direction for me? Does this make me feel good? Does this feel true for me? Make sure you ask those kinds of questions, at least from your emotional standpoint, in yes or no format. Because if you ask yourself, how would it feel if I decided today to go to the grocery store? Now my mind is involved. Now my mind is involved, and it's taking me away from the emotion and putting me in a position of calculating and thinking and comparing and contrasting and data recall, and takes all the fun out of the whole emotional experience of, yes, today I want to go to Costco. So, and that's just a minor example. There are huge examples of things when it comes to the work that you choose out in the world, right? If you're faced with a choice between doing what you love and doing something that provides you with a higher paycheck, what is the feeling that is evoked in your body, right? So our emotions are always telling us when we're making good decisions for ourselves or when we're not making good decisions for ourselves. And as time goes on, after we get past 2027, so what, a mere 7 years from now, there's a huge evolutionary impulse that runs through all of our DNA that creates more emotional intelligence. We're evolving to become more aware, more in tune with our emotions. So we get these little mini practice sessions every time the moon moves through Cancer, when it moves through Scorpio, when it moves through the other water sign, Pisces. We get these opportunities to really tap into our emotional awareness, what we are feeling and why are we feeling that? What is it telling us? It's an educative process. I think we could kind of distill it down to that. Now, also, the moon in Cancer brings us to home. It brings us to family, to ancestry, to lineage. It brings us to tradition, to our roots, right? It anchors us here in the people that we are most familiar with, in the surroundings that we are most familiar with. And to the need for all humans have this need, by the way, to belong, to feel like you're a part of a family or a tribe or a community. And by the way, for some of you, and for some of us, even myself included, a lot of times the family that you end up with is really just the biological aspect of what got you to this planet, and you end up finding true resonance with other people that will become your family. So it doesn't always have to be just the blood connections that you have to people, because we also have these soul connections, little tendrils of connections that are unseen, yet we feel them. We feel them when we connect with one another. When I don't know how many times this has happened to me where I've stumbled into a conversation with someone and there's just such a profound connection, and you link up with these people and they become friends or family, and yet they're not blood, right? And every other instinct that you have to create this feeling of them being other goes out the window because you're so connected. So Cancer energy brings us to the need to feel like we belong, to roots, to the familiar, to family. And what does that mean? Well, we've redefined family, right? We've redefined family. Sometimes families now are often split. Kids are faced with having two families. And how do they work with that? So traditions, family, and home are not just blood links, although there is a blood link that goes through that, but it doesn't have to be just the blood link. All of us together here today, and the people that I come into contact with all the time, we're not necessarily blood links, we're soul links. And it's a very powerful thing that we can discover more about when the moon is moving through those emotionally connected signs like Cancer and Scorpio and Pisces. Now, what do we have to watch out for? Because anytime the moon moves through a sign, there are going to be some things that come up, mostly because the moon represents emotion, right? It represents the changing face of our emotional bodies. So particularly when the moon is moving through Cancer, we watch out for hiding ourselves away out of fear, right? That crab shell, the hard crab shell that hides the soft underside. There's a vulnerability in the sign Cancer, and that vulnerability is covered over by a hard shell, and that hard shell covers up fear, right? Vulnerability is often linked to a fear that I'm going to get hurt, or that I'm not going to be um, uh, thought of as, being someone worth talking to, right? It assaults our worth, perhaps. There's a defensiveness that comes up with the moon in Cancer sometimes. Again, remember crabs, those big pinchers? How many of you have ever been pinched by a crab? You know that it's wicked, right? Some of those pinchers they're made up of that hard bony shell, and it's a wicked bite, or a wicked sort of pinch that you get from a crab in defense of their territory, or in defense of their home, or of their own beingness. And often that comes out from an insecurity that the crab perfectly embodies Cancer energy in the shell, in the sideways way that Cancer often comes at something. They don't come right at you. They sort of kind of do the sidewinder deal, coming at you from the side, because there's a little bit of an insecurity there. And we may feel insecure, we may feel defensive, we may feel like we're in fear for something. And then we also alternatively may find ourselves in the smothering energy as opposed to mothering. Remember, the first deal with Cancer is all about mothering energy, and how we care for one another and nurture and have compassion for one another. And sometimes that can, especially with someone who's lacking maybe in self-confidence or self-worth, it could be that that person gets so wrapped up in the care that they're giving to someone else that the energy falls into the category of smothering. So we want to watch out for smothering energy as well when the moon is moving through Cancer. So I'm going to take a real quick look at comments, since I can't see myself here. This is the weirdest thing today. Good morning, Debbie Tibbetts-Tumiel. Good morning, Debbie Hedden and Marjorie Roth. Great to see you. Debbie says, good morning, found you again. Great. Hi, Debbie. And Colleen McSpirit, good morning. Ashley, great to see you out there this morning. Ashley has been going to school and hasn't been able to be with us much in the morning. We're glad to see her back with us. Catherine Worster, good morning. Jan says, good morning and happy Friday. Linda Dennis, good morning. Karen Devine, good morning. Allison, good morning to you. Asa, good morning. Linda Marie, someone fairly new to us, good morning from Vancouver, Canada. Love your show. Listen on podcast. Great to see you live. Awesome, Linda. It's great to have you with us too. And by the way, we're just basically neighbors. I could almost shout out to you. I'm literally almost closer to Vancouver, Canada than I am to Seattle, Washington. Good morning, Sarah, and good morning, Tara22. Twice in 1 week, I get to receive Living Astrology Live. Such a gift. Oh my gosh, thank you for saying that, and thank you for joining us. Jan Landry, Cancer rising here, and that's totally me. I'm with you, Jan, Cancer rising. Interestingly, an interesting little side note for all of you. A few months back, I started a group called the Dimensional Astrology Certification Program. And a couple of my morning listeners here are also a part of that program. And one of the first things we did was share our astrology charts with one another, and our human designs, etc., just as, a way to get to know us in a group. And it is amazing. I think there's 3 out of the 5 of us that have Cancer rising. Most of us have more water in our charts than anything, and water, air, and Cancer plays a big role in all of our charts. And I just found that so funny. Kind of like, oh yeah, we must be meant to be together because we have these commonalities going through our charts. So thank you for sharing that, Jan. Okay. So any questions? Anybody have any comments? Please feel free to put those in the comment stream. While I can't see myself in the screen, I can see your comments, amazingly enough. I'm glad for that. Now, let's transition over to the Pleiadian Earth energy for the day, because today is a duality day. And the duality, the pulse of duality comes from the number 2. So the universal energy today is that of 2. We are in 2 enlightening, by the way. Enlightening energy is the earth energy. In the Mayan calendar, it was Ahau, which was the sign of the king, the sign of the leadership. No one would be king in the Mayan society if they did not have Ahau in there as their birth sign. And often it was 4 Ahau that were the kings. And there was probably a good reason for all of that. If we looked at the number 4, it's a foundation number in the Pleiadian and the Mayan calendric systems. So foundation of leadership, a foundation of kings. So here we have 2 enlightening, though. 2 is about duality. It is where the one splits into 2 mirror halves, right? Where the unity principle splits into duality, or splits into 2 opposing energies, seemingly opposing energies, right? Where the energy of conflict and opposition is born, evoking our need to bring the 2 sides together in cooperation. It has a distinctly Libran feel to it, where it is that split, that duality, the 2, where we have, black and we have white, or we have up and we have down. And how do we come to the middle, right? The middle ground. How do we create win-win? And the possibility here is that we come to see and view duality as complementary parts, right? So we can't have the light without the dark. We wouldn't have up if we didn't have down. We wouldn't have right if we didn't have left. And all of these dualities that we see here on this planet come from the ability for us to see 2 and bring them together. And trust me when I say you have that ability, right? This is a universal energy, by the way. That means that in all of the universes, the energy is resonant with 2. And when I say all of the universes, it could be the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, all of the planets, all of the different solar system, or the solar systems in our universe, resonate with that 2 energy today. Now, if we take a look at enlightening energy is about embodying possibilities to become beings of light and love. I'm going to say that again because it's profound. Embodying the possibility of becoming beings of light and love. Embodying light and love. This is leadership energy. This is also visionary energy. The reason there are good leaders, what makes good leaders often is their ability to see the bigger picture, to see how all the parts work together, to see the broader horizon that is in front of them. This could be a day of extremes as well. Unfortunately, we've got the moon in Cancer evoking emotion, and we also have then this duality energy, and duality means, 2, we get 2 of everything today. It reminded me this morning when I saw the moon, I knew the moon was going to be in Cancer. And I thought about here in the US, there's the impeachment inquiry that's going on, and the person that they're talking to today, I feel like, is a very sympathetic character. And she was the ambassador to Ukraine until Trump had her removed from her position. And which, of course, I'm not going to argue that it's his right or not to do that, but he took what was a person who was of high integrity and removed her from office, or had her removed from office. And here she is now showing back up in an impeachment inquiry. And I believe she's going to be a highly sympathetic character, and it is going to evoke an emotion as she seeks to enlighten everybody today in her testimony about what was going on with the Ukraine. So we're going to see it right out there. I will bet you that there are going to be some extreme emotional reactions, maybe anger and upset on one side, defensiveness on the other side, as well as other people whose heartstrings are going to be kind of pulled because they're going to resonate with the beingness of this woman and her plight and the unfairness with which she was treated. And so we're going to see this division thing going on today, out at least here in the US, likely other places around the world as well. So I don't mean to just poke at that one, but it's pretty obvious. It's like in our face today here in this country anyway. All right, so we are going to see both the light and the dark. We're going to see both the good and the bad. It's going to be really easy for us to see duality in this particular environment that we're in today. It is our job is to check our emotional reactions to what we see out there. Watch what's happening to you as you hear about things that are going on in the outer world, or as you have opportunities to deal with other people, or as you have opportunities to mix with family and friends, especially over the weekend, because the moon is in Cancer all weekend, most of the weekend. So we get this energy today where we're really getting to tune into the emotional field, the moods of the planet. And then we have today specifically this day where we can embody the possibility of light and love, right? All of we are beings of light and love. Cool. I just love that. Okay, so any other comments or questions? Nope. Good. Okay, so I'm going to go on to Saturday, because Saturday, I was looking at this morning thinking, because tomorrow our family is doing family and friends, because we have an extended family. We're doing our family Thanksgiving here in the US. Of course, Thanksgiving isn't until the 28th of the month, but we do ours early because just of the way our family is put together. People work retail, and Thanksgiving's always crazy. And because all of my kids have an alternate family, they're married or with a significant other, so they're splitting their time between two different things. So we do our personal family one early, and the moon is in Cancer tomorrow. My daughter has a Cancer moon. I have a Cancer rising. Half my grandchildren, 4 out of the 9 grandchildren I have, are Scorpios. So there's going to be a lot of emotional energy running through the field for us in our family tomorrow. And as I started looking at this, I went, it's going to be the small things that are going to get us tomorrow. It's going to be the fact that dinner might be 10 minutes late. That's going to get to us, right? So over the weekend, tomorrow in particular, it's the small things that can go wrong that get magnified into bigger things and feed into the emotional energy. Well, if it's feeding into the emotional energy of love, then it's a completely different story than if it's falling into the category of irritation or anger or upset. So one of the things I'm thinking about this morning is I'm meeting up later this afternoon with my daughter to go shopping and get things ready. And I was going to have a conversation around this same subject. Look, don't sweat the small stuff, right? Don't sweat it if we're 10 minutes late. Even if we're an hour late, does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? So tomorrow, small things can go wrong and they get magnified. And tomorrow, the moon is specifically going to be opposing Saturn and Pluto, right? It'll have moved far enough into Cancer where we're opposing those planets. It's also trining Mercury and Neptune, which is supportive of actually feeling good, right? There's that feel good, when you're with family, when you're with friends, when you're in familiar territory. So we want to feel the familiar and the comfortable. But likely sometime tomorrow, you're going to have to be outside of your comfort zone in some way. And I hope if anybody in my family is listening, I love you all anyway, so it doesn't matter if you hear this. I, as a Cancer rising, was already resonating with this energy, the need to feel the familiar and the comfortable, because my daughter didn't just invite family, she also invited friends and her boyfriend's family, and I don't know those people. And it began to trigger in me this feeling of discomfort, right? I'm very good with my family, sure. I mean, I know all of them. I birthed them, and they're all here because of me in many cases. And I'm very comfortable with that. It's the new people, right? That was my having to step out of my comfort zone to be able to embrace other people as a part of the family. This would be the extended family. And I know that's something familiar to all of you, that feeling of, I've got to get outside my comfort zone. And what is that going to mean? So tomorrow, likely something in your life will pull you outside of your comfort zone. You may have to face an uncomfortable emotion. There may be new people in your life, new situations. You may be presented with a new opportunity, but that opportunity comes with the need to expand or move outward from your usual. So the weekend could be really interesting that way. Remember to breathe, right? Remember to breathe and connect to spirit. Connect to the part of you that is also connected to everyone else. Live, love, laugh. That's going to be my motto for tomorrow. Live, love, laugh, right? We're going to have fun. We're going to live. We're going to love. We're going to have a lot of food. We're going to enjoy that. We're going to play games. We're going to have conversation. And I'm going to pull myself outside of my comfort zone and be able to handle that change in our typical traditional Thanksgiving. Tomorrow is also an interesting day because it's in the Pleiadian-Earth energy. It's 3 Emish, or 3 being. Excuse me. It's 3 being in Pleiadian. Emish is the Mayan sign, which is an alligator, crocodile type of character. I call him the dragon. It is the cosmic dragon, and the closest thing that represented the dragon to the Maya was an alligator or a crocodile. I guess crocodile would be more appropriate for Egyptians. In the Mayan, I think it would be more alligators. It doesn't really matter. They used that symbol as the symbolic meaning of beingness. So tomorrow, the 3 energy is the energy of creating. What are we creating? And the first question I thought, what more is possible? Right? What more is possible? Is there more creativity that I can express? Can I become inspired by what I hear or what I see, or inspired to do something? And this is the energy of intention that begins to manifest. Remember 2 days ago where we were in the energy of 1, and it was the energy of manifesting, starting something, initiation, right? It's not necessarily manifesting, it's the intention setting. And here's where we see the intention begin to coalesce, right? It moves from the split of the 2 into the merging energy of the 3, or the creative energy of the 3. And being energy, being, human being, is the place of potential. What we have is pure potential. And this is the cosmic dragon with the great powers of creation. That's exactly what the alligator represented in the Mayan calendar. And I would believe in a lot of different places, it was the cosmic birth zone. It was the ability to birth new ideas. It's the very powers of creation. So we'll want to watch out for feelings of insecurity tomorrow, the feeling of rejection or loneliness, right, that we're not a part of, right? This is, again, we're having to step out of that comfort zone. Venus tomorrow in human design changes gates and moves into the gate 26, which is called, well, it's the gate of integrity. And I wrote, tricks, lies, shenanigans, or could we rise to truth, integrity, and transparency? So we're faced with almost a duality here in terms of our ethics. Are we going to resonate with the trickster energy, with the lies energy, with the skirting the truths? Or are we going to resonate with truth, integrity, and being transparent? Seeming opposites, right? But they're complementary. And it'll be an interesting day. That's all I can say. Venus shows us our values, and values, our money, and our relationships. So these concepts may play out between you and those closest to you. And gate 26, Venus will be there for about 4 days, 5 days. And yeah, that's what we'll be working with for a couple of days. All right, April, good morning. Great to see you. No questions, right? Nobody has any questions out there. Time-wise, we're doing really good. Let's just talk about Sunday really quickly. It's too funny. I did all of this work for Friday and for Saturday, and I turned this over and started to work on Sunday. And then I realized, oh my gosh, my hair's wet. I need to dry it. I don't have any makeup on. I've got work to do. And then by the time I got done doing that and came back, I did not finish Sunday. So we're going to do Sunday off the cuff. How's that? Sunday, 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 the moon is still in Cancer. However, it will turn void, of course, at noon 15 my time. So 3:15 for you all on the East Coast. And it's literally only about an hour and a half of void. And at 1:58 p.m., with the moon here, will move into Leo, changing the energy up from the more homey, traditional sign of Cancer to the more dramatic and creative energies of Leo. And Leo's particular brand of creation is drama, right? They love the drama and they love the center of attention. So the moon brings us into that energy. Now, albeit later in the day for most of us, 1:58 p.m. my time is going to be 4:58 p.m. for everybody on the East Coast. So later in the day, we end up with the moon in Leo, and it heads into a square with Uranus. Uranus in Taurus. These are fixed signs, by the way. Leo and Taurus are both fixed signs, and as is Scorpio and Aquarius. So they make up the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. Fixed signs, carry the energy of loyalty, trustworthiness, getting, stuck. They are the signs that, like to stay where they are and need more energy injection to move, which I find interesting in Leo, as they want the center of attention, but are they willing to take the steps to get there? That's the question that we will be thinking about with Leo energy. Are we willing? Are we ready? Are we going to step out into the light? Are we going to do it? Are you going to put your money where your mouth is and get your creative energies out there to the world? Are you going to dare to make yourself be seen? Are you going to dare to make yourself be heard? And do you want to be recognized for your work, for your love, for your life? And that becomes a huge question for the next few days as we start the next week. There's a lot of shifting and changing going on in next week's energy. So here's our chance, right, to really pull ourselves up and decide how we want to show up in the world. The square to Uranus might bring us an aha, an epiphany, an awakening, a revelation, a challenge, right? It's almost like the universe laying down the gauntlet and saying, you say you want to be this, but what are you doing to get there? So the moon's shifting us into that. There's also a square to Mars before the square to Uranus. And so my thinking along that line was that there's some actions that we need to take, some plans that we need to make. I don't know if you guys can see my walls. You probably can't. You can just see the edge there, but my 2020 plan is up there, part of it. My astrology for 2020 webinar information is right there. I've been really into this mind mapping over the last few days. And I learned mind mapping when I was in college back in the early 90s. And I just synced up with that idea very quickly, very easily. I have books. This is my thing. I did self-publishing school. I have books in this book outlined in mind mapped, and I just haven't written them, right? I've got all of the bare bones are there, and I'm the worst kind of Leo energy right here in that I have all of these plans, all of these things, but something has been stopping me from executing the plan. And it is likely a lack of confidence, because that's what happens often with Leo energy, is that we lack the confidence. There's a little, our worthiness issues get triggered. I often sit there and go, oh no, this has already been said, so why do I need to say it again? Right? Why should I say there's already a book on human design, so why should I write another one? There's thousands of books written on astrology. Why should I write another one? So that's what goes through my mind, and it ends up taking out the legs out from under me. So while I have all these wonderful mind maps and these ideas outlined to take action on, I haven't done it. On some, yes, but not all of those ideas end up being acted upon. So that is our challenge on Sunday as we face going into a week filled with change and transformation. Are we ready to put ourselves as the center of attention and to start really creating the life of our dreams? Are we going to embody light and love and express it through the work that we do? Because, in this particular planet, we identify quite readily with what we do, and our value and our self-worth is all wrapped up in what we do. So when something happens or you get triggered in some way, something assaults the work that you've done, whether it's a feeling, a thought, an emotion, or literally something from outside of you, that causes you to, have that feeling of not being confident, then it can stop everything. Everything comes to a stop. And literally, I've put things on the shelf here, pulling myself to a stop out of a lack of confidence. And that is what we're up to on Sunday, is where are we lacking the confidence? Where do we need to pull ourselves up and embrace our creative energy and express it, then giving it outward to the world, right? What is your path of service? How are you here to share your gifts and talents? And where are you stopping yourself from a lack of confidence or self-esteem or self-worth? So for the first few days of the week, that is what we are going to be focusing on. And hopefully that the square to Uranus by the moon will generate some ideas or some thoughts around that, or some, like revelatory energy to you. Especially on that day, because we start that day, Sunday, with the moon in a trine to the sun. So an ease and a flow of the energies between the two luminaries, seeing very clearly within and also seeing ourselves very clearly from outside of ourselves. So the light on the outside, but also the light from the inside. And what maybe that leads us to is a very easy ability to see where it is that we've gotten off track. That's what my hope is. Now, the Pleiadian-Earth energy for Sunday is for breathing. Breathing energy is Ik in the Mayan calendar. It represented the wind and blowing the seeds of creation outward, blowing the seeds of new ideas outward, inspiration moving outward from us outward, right? So the energy of the earth that day is of conversation, of sharing, of getting new ideas and sharing new ideas. And the energy of four for that day, four energies, foundational energy. We get to look at what forms our foundation. Is your foundation built on sand, or is it built in stone, right? And what is the difference? Well, built on sand, things collapse. Built on stone, things endure. And so the foundation, and what if your foundation is built in fear or lack of confidence or low self-esteem or lack of self-worth, then how does that affect the foundation, right? How does that affect your ability to grow or to build on that foundation, right? Fear is the sand, and the stone is your confidence and your ability to see yourself in your full glory and to go out into the world in whatever way you're meant to do that, in full confidence and in full beauty, in fully embracing light, your light. Okay, Camille, good morning. Allison says, could we get cards for the collective if there is time? Definitely. Not only that, today's Friday, so we'll do a couple of card readings for individuals. You might as well start telling me now if you want to do a card reading, because that's what I'm transitioning to here in a moment. Londa, I don't do drama. Okay. LOL. Okay, there's the LOL. I'm like, yeah, Miss Leo, no drama in your life ever. Debbie Hedden says, have a great weekend. Off to get grandson. Bye, Debbie. Thank you for joining us this morning. Asa, wow, that's a powerful message. And question, are we willing to step into our creativity? Having a natal Leo moon, it's the hardest thing for me. It's actually one of it's actually one of the shyest signs in the zodiac, indeed. And doesn't that seem sort of counterintuitive, right? Leo being the lion and being full on, out there, is literally one of the shyest signs. And literally that's truth. And it's because of the lack of confidence that they feel, which is why often they become narcissistic or even arrogant. It's that superiority. They call on the superiority, or maybe it's an inferiority complex that causes them to behave in this superior way. And it's not truth. It's not born out of anything really true. It's a false sort of power that they're evoking when they're wounded, definitely. And yes, I'm going to be drawing cards. Camille says, yes, I understand. Same here. With an unexpected career change, challenging reinvention of self. What I do is part of what I am. Reestablishing confidence takes being in the flow. Oh gosh, yes, Camille, absolutely. And Allison, okay, Allison, a spirit animal card. And let's see who else is in here. Ann Stevens. I've got you guys trained. Woto, Wota, wisdom of the Woto. And Tara. Yes, please. Tara, 22. Tara. And Jan. All right. Got you. You guys didn't tell me what kind of card, so I may just choose. Like the lion in The Wizard of Oz. Yes. And what was the lion looking for? His courage. His courage. Kelly Ann Doherty. Happy Friday to you as well. And Kelly, I love it. She put down the symbol for Scorpio, Taurus, and Aquarius. Those must be important parts to you. Ashley Imbernone, I will take any card you want to give. Ashley, awesome. Oops, I should write your whole name. And Colleen, my choice. I love it. And Camille, yes. Woto. Okay. All right, let's transition over to that. If you guys have questions about anything we've covered today, please feel free to write that in there. I'm going to transition over to card reading so that, because we only have about 10 minutes here left. So, Allison, my friend, you wanted a spirit animal card. So let's pull you one, okay? I love these cards, by the way. Well, you guys know that. I say it every time. By the way, this is and I can't tell if you're seeing this or not because I can't see, but it is the Spirit Animal deck by Colette Baron Reed. And this is for you, Allison. And let me just give you guys a quick reminder. The energy or the, you get two. The information is up and on the Living Astrology page for you to connect with the Astrology for 2020 webinar that's happening December 11th. And I am afraid it's going to be a couple of hours long because we have a lot to share. I also have a guest numerologist joining us that day. And so we'll be talking about more than just astrology for 2020, but also human design, gene keys, what can we expect, what are we seeing there, and also the numerology. So, Allison, you've got two cards. The first one, right side up, is Vulture. And I don't know if you can see this, if it's in the right view for you, but that's the first card. It is number 63, which is a 9. And you also got Porcupine Spirit, but Porcupine Spirit was upside down. Again, I can't tell if you can see this, but I'll put it in a couple of different places and hopefully the camera is tracking. It is card number 48, which is a 12, which is a 3. And let's deal with the Vulture Spirit first. Vulture Spirit says, nothing is wasted. 63. I almost got Turkey Spirit instead. Vulture. I think we've had this card recently too. The Oracle says, what seems hidden has its own beauty. No, let me reframe that. What seems hideous has its own beauty. And the recycling and repurposing the Vulture does is as important as any other activity in nature that supports the cycle of life. Vulture Spirit's message is that nothing is to be wasted, for nature sees value in everything that exists. What seems rotten and ugly has the potential to be transmuted into something beautiful and beneficial. And you are reminded that any suffering you have experienced has not gone to waste. Wisdom and understanding that arose from the experience are talismans that will serve you on your journey wherever you go. What is decaying is only changing form and will fertilize seeds you wish to plant, turning that which has passed away into the substance that will support new growth. All that you might wish to deny or discard has value and can be repurposed and reintegrated into the new you that you are becoming and the new life that you are dreaming into being. No pain was in vain and no experience wasted, for you have the power to use it to co-create something far better. This is the miracle in your partnership with Spirit. Wow, Allison, that's pretty amazing. And then also you had the supporting card of Porcupine Spirit in protection. So let's get to that. Protection, Porcupine Spirit says, time for beginner mind. I love that. So it says, are you feeling prickly and defensive lately and assuming you will be hurt before you have seen any sign that such a reaction is called for? Perhaps an old sense of guilt and shame is causing you to be cynical and wary when you are meant to be open and curious. Self-protection is a good thing, but you may be protecting yourself from something that will not actually harm, but instead will bring you abundance, happiness, and love. Remember your innocence, and you will see what you have been overlooking. Porcupine quills are filled with air, allowing a porcupine to float in water. Now is a time to let your innocent nature keep you buoyant. Love that. Love that. Love that. Okay, that was for you, Allison. And next is Anne. Anne wants us to pull a Wisdom of the Oracle card. So let's do that for you, Anne. Woto, Wisdom of the Oracle, also a deck by Colette Baron-Reid. And love this deck as well. I heard from a couple of you that got Colette Baron-Reid's newest deck, the Crystal deck. Oh, well, this is not the card that I thought was coming out, but okay, Anne, this is what you have. Upside down, in protection, Thinker. I'm going to flip her over, and this card is number 44. So we have a master number of building a foundation, of making sure you're within boundaries, or that you even have boundaries. It's the number 4 plus 4 is an 8. So it's infinity. It's human. It's the God code. A lot of really interesting things here. And the card in protection. So let's look at what that means for you, Anne. Card 44, Thinker. Yes, I just grabbed the wrong book. Let's pull the right book. Okay, so Thinker. The essential meaning of the card Thinker is strategy and being analytical and logical. And in protection, it says, you might be suffering from analysis paralysis. Thinking has its place, but trying to figure everything out logically is not going to work right now. Your conclusions will likely be faulty, and you may act upon false assumptions that will get you into a jam. Give your mind a rest, do something creative, exercise or meditate. Soon you'll come to your senses, and an aha moment will bring new clarity. That's pretty powerful too. That aha moment is already in the offing. We talked about that this morning with the moon squaring Uranus later this weekend on Sunday. So new clarity coming, an aha moment. Love that. But you got to get out of your mind and into your body. And so easy sometimes to get into our heads, right? Tara 22. Tara, I'm going to pull a Wisdom of the Oracle for you. I don't remember you seeing any particular card that you wanted, so that's what we're going to do, okay? All right, so this is for you, Tara. And, oh my gosh, your card just flew. And it flew down here to the floor. And it is called To the Sea. To the Sea, card number 7. Card number 7. And I couldn't tell you if it was upside down or right side up. So we're going to read a couple of the different meanings for this card for you. And remember too, you guys, we're all linked here, right? I may be reading a card for Tara, but I guarantee you that somebody else is resonating with that energy, right? I always enjoy that because I see parts of information for me in the cards that I read for everybody else. So interesting, right? The essential meaning of to the sea says being in flow, returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. And the oracle's message says, isn't it wonderful when you feel yourself in the flow of life, when events and conditions seem to engage you in a way that is fluid and effortless? This card reminds you that going with the flow is exactly what you need to do right now. Ride the wave of opportunity formed by perfect conditions. Allow trust and faith to guide you forward as you flow like a river into the sea of life. And I'm going to read the protection message just in the off chance that that is also important for you. When external conditions appear to block every attempt to move forward, there is no hidden message for you to decipher. Like the ocean, the tides of experience ebb and flow. You are in a natural cycle, so know that things will flow again in due course. There is no cause for alarm. Stop resisting and fighting against the situation and learn to flow even when the tide is going out. Relax and trust in the abundance that will soon be within your reach again. An ancient mariner's saying applies to you now. When fishermen cannot go to sea, they stay home and repair their nets. That's a great message for all of us. Awesome. Okay, Tara, be in the flow. I think that's your message. And Jan Landry, did you tell me what deck? I think you might have said pick one. You're welcome, Allison. And guess what? Even if you do leave work or you don't get to leave work on time, you can still join late, but it's also being recorded, and your purchase also allows you access to the recording. So you will have that. But you're also part of the, you don't even need to purchase it because you're part of the membership and you get it for free. I still need you to register though. Check your email. I sent that out to you guys yesterday. Okay, so Jan, I'm going to pull you a Wisdom of the Oracle card. I'm looking real quickly to see if you said, I just passed your name. Card, please. Okay, well, I'm going to pull this one for you, okay? Wisdom of the Oracle. All right, well, there we go. Oh, well, all that glitters. I hope you see this because this one literally, again, very much like Tara's card, jumped out, only this time I didn't lose it. All that glitters. Card number 16, which is a 7. And let's take a look at what that means. All that glitters. Okay. The essential meaning of the card is a need to see beyond the superficial, the desire to don a mask or dress something up to disguise its true nature, trying to be something you're not, chasing after every sparkly new thing, and being mercurial. So the oracle's message says, it's only human to want to adorn oneself in trinkets and paint a pretty picture of yourself. It's natural to want to acquire the trappings of status or to deny them as a statement of rebellion. But if it sparkles, is it better? Whether it's a fast car, a big house, or a title or position, the stamp of authority, or the sparkling of diamonds, these icons let you know something about a person, place, or thing. Or do they? The truth is that people seek to acquire things because of what they will do for them and how they symbolically will elevate them and make them more attractive. This card signals that it's time to see beyond the adornments and probe underneath the surface. Learn to recognize the masks people wear and the motives underlying them. Imagine that all the glitter is gone. Would you still desire the object or the person? Wow, that's a great one. I'm going to read also the prosperity message on this one. And it says, sometimes an opportunity looks so good that it glitters like gold and you just can't resist it, especially when it appears others are doing so well and have hit the mother lode. During the American gold rush, everyone hurried west to find their fortune and then deserted entire towns after the mining depleted the gold veins in the earth. So too can you deplete yourself as you chase after the latest shiny thing that has caught your eye. There is a mercurial quality to your present circumstances. Pay no attention to those who chase after fool's gold. Resist the temptation to be jealous of others. What they have achieved may not be the true success you seek, so don't compare yourself to them. You see only the surface right now, only the sparkle. Be assured that you will experience your own shining moment if you stick to what you know. All that glitters may not be gold for you. Wow. Be true to you. That's the message I get out of that one for you, Jan. And Ashley, did you tell me what you would like? Ashley, I'm going to do an animal card for you. So this is for you, Ashley. It's great to have you back with us. I hope you're still here to be able to hear your card. If not, of course, you'll be able to see it or hear it later. Oh, okay. Okay. This is card number 54. Skunk Spirit. Skunk Spirit. Know your worth. Wow, that is a powerful message. It was in protection. And card number 54 would be a 9. So Skunk Spirit. Doesn't he look cute? Or she maybe? Let's see what that card's about. So 54. Vulture, skunk, porcupine. They're not exactly the feel-good animals we're getting today, but they have powerful messages for us nonetheless. So Skunk Spirit says, know your worth. Not everyone will appreciate you. Many people have issues of their own to address, and you may trigger something in them, but if so, no matter. Skunk Spirit calls you to be fully yourself without apology. Now is the time for honesty and admitting that something does not sit right for you. You deserve the self-respect that comes when you courageously choose to stand up for yourself and speak your truth in love. Remember who you are and what really matters to you, and act with integrity. You will be so glad that you did. Right. That's awesome. That's a great message for everybody, especially, because we were talking about self-confidence and worth today and, the emotions that come with that. All right, Ashley. Colleen, you were next. And Colleen, did you tell me what you wanted card-wise? You're very welcome, Tara. And I didn't write down what you wanted, Colleen. My choice. Gotcha. Okay, so I'm gonna do Wota for you. Woto, not Wota. This is for you, Colleen. And then I'm gonna do Camille. The cards are literally jumping out today. It is upside down. Co-create. The co-create card has a cheetah or a leopard. Can't tell which animal that is. Maybe it's a leopard with an owl. And it says co-create, and it's in protection mode. It is also card number 40, which is a 4, a foundational number. That sort of resonates, doesn't it, with the Pleiadian-Earth energy of Sunday. And 40. Let's see what this card says in protection. I think somebody got this card last week, too. Okay, co-create. It's the card of the essential meaning is creativity, art, inspiration, fruition, and manifestation. Protection says, you are trying too hard to create all that you desire without the nurturing, vital force of spirit. Perhaps you are in a creative slump, suffering writer's block, facing a monumental task, but unable to decide on your first step, so you just avoid doing anything. Does the word overwhelmed apply to you right now? Why do you think it has all come down to you? Inspiration means the drawing in of divine guidance. You must tap into spirit, not simply yourself. Ask spirit for inspiration. 2 minds are greater than 1, so co-create with your divine partner. Reclaim your partnership with spirit. Inspiration will flow through you as soon as you get out of your own way. Yay. That's a good card. I mean, really what it says is get out of your own way. How many times, I mean, you're actually a writer too, Colleen, in some ways, right? Don't you write articles and so forth? And so I'm sure a writer's block or something like that has happened to you in the past, maybe. Ashley, this time of year doesn't surprise me that we are getting animals that don't seem cute and cuddly on the surface, because this is really about going in and soul searching. So I think these cards are perfect for seeing what lies beneath the surface. Exactly. We missed you too, Ashley. We're glad you're back. Okay, so Colleen, there you go. Co-create with spirit. Okay. And last but not least, Colleen, or not Colleen, but Camille. Camille, did you tell me to choose? I didn't write. Oh, no, I put WOTA there. I put a W, so that means you wanted WOTO. Let's draw one for you, Camille. I got to tell you, this is really disconcerting not to be able to see myself in this screen. It's very odd. I don't know why I even cleared out my cache memory. There just seems to be a lot of weird things going on, like YouTube being purchased by Google, and now there's new rules with YouTube and Facebook. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. You got the card, Camille. Orphaned, upside down, orphaned. Card number 5, which here it doesn't seem like it's a very positive card, but I bet you it is. And orphaned was in protection mode. So let's see what card number 5 feels like to you. Okay, the meaning of the card is a sense of loss and identity crisis, recognizing that you don't fit in, the need to belong, uncertainty about your place. And it's in protection. So let's see. The shadow side of this card speaks to the essence of abandonment. Perhaps you feel a need to remain apart because intimacy is too threatening. It also warns against creating inappropriate family structures in order to conceal old wounds. It's time to address the unhealthy alliances you formed and make a decision to heal the past. You will not be abandoned by the world if you claim yourself as whole. Not all relationships